Hi guys, so today I want to talk about the title itself, which is why most people feel like they've never made progress in life. I had the same problem. I feel like I've cracked the code to it somehow. It's not a complete crack, but I would like to share it. I'm still putting my thoughts into this and trying to figure out what actually trying to say. I feel like this video itself will help me put my thoughts into words and help my understanding of this concept more better. So we'll start with the visualization. This is related to motion from physics and also your sensory organs and all that. So I feel like it's a very interesting question. If I put you in a bus that's completely blacked out and there is no vibrations whatsoever, which means great suspension or whatever, I put earplugs, I close your vision, with basically I deprive your senses when you're sitting in that bus. And even if you run that bus for 100 kilometers, you will feel like you haven't moved a single inch from where you started. That is how most people see progress. Progress is only immediately realized by humans when it's of two types. One, it's like extremely instant. So basically, you have been outreaching for a really long time for your business. You have put hundreds of messages, no good replies. But turns out that there's one guy who just randomly trusts you due to your volume and luck factor, and he gives you a five-figure deal. Even though you put so much effort into it, that duration is not realized by your brain. But what is actually realized is that I dropped a message, and from that I got a five-figure deal. It was like kind of instant. And a better way to look at it is, by luck, you crack your deal in the first 5 DMs. That is a very lucky thing to happen. If it happens to you, good for you. But you realize that, oh my god, I made so much progress in such a short time. Another way is that it is so drastic from what you were at before that you have to realize that you made progress. For example, people who win lotteries, they get absurd amounts of money suddenly. Or another example is that people who are like, uh, let's go with this example. I not think of another example, but people who have won the lottery, they get absurd amounts of money randomly, which takes them from broke to rich in like an instant, and now they feel like their life has entirely changed. It has changed, so they realize that progress. That is, my life went from broke to rich, and these are only two instances where people realize that they made progress. But most people, on the other hand, life is like A to Z, which means they have 26 steps to go from A to Z, and the width of these steps are different, and there's so many factors which goes on. People usually think that life is like A to Z out of nowhere, but it is like people do know that it is not instant, but still they cannot visualize the progress. Life is like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 different steps that has to occur slow and steady, one step at a time, for it to play out the way you want it to play out. But those steps are so minute, those steps are such small changes that unless you put deep thought and reflection into it, you will never realize that you have crossed that one step. I'll give you an example. People think that all it takes to run a great business is you just doing massive amounts of outbound, building the best product in the market. I bet you guys, it does not work that way. Personal experience. I built a tool that was supposed to be the best in terms of performance, but people just don't buy it because there's so many other factors that goes into building a business. And to build a business, there's 1,000 things that should go right. Even if it does not go right, you can correct it and make 1,000 things to go your way through gradual progress. But those 1,000 things are so many micro factors that you don't realize until you put deep reflection into it. So if you ask me, okay, Siddharth, now tell me, how do I come out of this black bus with sensory deprivation and actually see my progress? Even I don't know completely, but as I said, I'm figuring this out. From what I figured, it's just deep reflection. You have to know what has happened before for you to realize that you have made progress. Now, most people are so caught up in what they are doing, they don't even take a second to sit and be like, okay, right now I have no clients, but I've dropped 600 messages. 2 months back, I had no clients, but I just dropped 300 messages, which means this month I'm able to drop 2x more messages, which means I'm increasing the luck of me getting a client by 2x, and that is progress. Another way to look at this is in personal life is that the gym mindset. I forgot the right word for it, which is progressive overload, right? Progressive overload. You start with a 5 kg dumbbell, you're able to do 5 reps, then 12 reps, then you go for 7.5, 3 reps, 6 reps, 12 reps. Same cycle, another weight. It is it's supposed to be that way. And for you to realize that you're building muscle, you need to know that, okay, last gym session I was at 7.5 kgs for 4 reps. This gym session I'm able to do 7.5 for, let's say, 6 reps, which means I'm able to do 3 more reps, which means I'm able to do potentially 22.5 kg extra load this session compared to the last session, which is huge progress. That is how you're supposed to see, which means take a step back, just see where you are right now, so that a month later, when you want to actually imagine that I've made the progress, you are able to visualize it because you know where you were, you know where you are now. And this is what people say when they say, like, the journey is more beautiful than the destination or all that stuff. What you're basically trying to say is that you need to know the journey, the progress, because that is where the real dopamine hits. And you feel like, oh my god, last month I was just being able to do 12.5 kgs chest press for like 11 reps, and this session I'm able to do 22.5 for 5 reps. Oh my god, that's insane. Or I'm able to run a 5k in under 25 minutes. Insane, bro. You're probably one of the few people in your neighborhood to be able to do that. So that is how you're able to actually track and feel progress. The keyword is track. There is this very important thing that I've realized in life. Until you write down the metrics, or until you actually put your time and energy into noting down your steps in life, you will never succeed in it, because you need to know where you were, you need to know what metrics to improve so that you can track that progress and do the cycle again from A to Z, which means A to B, B to C, C to D, and sometimes you can go from C to E, skip D, because you just did so much progress in that 1 month. But you need to know these steps. Until you track your metrics, until you care to track your metrics, it's very hard. That's what I've realized. So I'm not a guy who does this consistently and trying to be the guy who does consistently. I'm just sharing my ideas out here. So if you guys have any other cool concepts like this, let me know in the comments. I'm always open to talking all this stuff. And the one thing I want to say before the video ends is that don't keep yourself in that black bus. Keep yourself in a bus with no sensory deprivation. Feel that vibration, open that window, feel that air in your face or the pollution in your face, whatever, wherever you live. And then don't wear headphones, feel the noise, feel the progress. That's what I'm trying to say. See you guys in the next video. Goodbye, peace out.